Hey guys, this is Untitled Geek, and today I'm going to talk about the Samsung Galaxy A50. This has been my cell phone for about a year. I bought this in September 20th, 2019 on Amazon for about $250. That's what was the cost at the time. It's the international unlocked version. It seems particularly aimed at a Spanish-speaking audience. When I got the package, most things were in Spanish. There were, even after going through the installation process, there were folders on the phone that were in Spanish, that had Spanish names, and some of the applications were named in Spanish. So they were the Spanish versions of those applications. So I had to go through and download the English ones and change a lot of stuff to English. So that was my experience with this phone. This is the black version. It was the only one available. I actually wanted the white version for this very reason here. You can see lots of fingerprints and dirt and crap on it. Obviously, that shows up more on a black surface. At the time, Samsung was using on all of their phones that weren't premium phones this glasstic outer shell, which is a coat of plastic that is designed to mimic the qualities of glass, to make it seem more premium for their mid-market phones, which was the purpose of this phone. The A series basically debuted in 2019. It was to replace the J series of phones, a series of phones that were notorious for being really bad. They were basically just lower end versions of the Galaxy phones, but with a really, really bad camera and like the cheapest components possible. When basically Samsung wanted to take the Indian market and South American markets more seriously, they came out with the Galaxy A series and they debuted it. It was also supposed to take on other mid-tier champions such as the Motorola phones that were starting to dominate places like Amazon and other online markets for people who were looking for something that could get the job done but wasn't a flagship $1,000, $600, $800 phone. So these phones are moderately priced. This is about the mid-range model. The A20 series is the low-end model. The A50 series, which is this one, is the mid-tier model. And then it goes up from there up until the Galaxies. Up until the Galaxy S series. So the Galaxy S series is their premium series. The A series is their mid series. And then they downgraded the J series to be the affordable series. Although the A20 basically does the same thing but way better. So if you're going to get an affordable Samsung phone, that's where I'd recommend going. So why did I switch to Android? Well, at the time when I was about to work on a campaign, I had the last phone that my parents said that they would ever buy for me, which was the iPhone 7. They bought it for me as a Christmas gift or birthday. I can't remember, one of the two. And they said, this is the last phone. The next phone you'll have to buy yourself, which is fine. I was really appreciative of the gift, and I used it. At the time, I think I had the phone for about a year and a half, or it was approaching its third year. I can't remember. No, it was still on contract. That was part of the problem. It was one of the last phones where contract phones were a thing. So it was on contract, and I was about ready to start my work on it, and I would need a smartphone to do my job. And I think I was about a year in to this phone, a year and a half. It was almost about to be contracted out, and I dropped it, and it shattered. So I desperately needed a new phone. After I dropped the phone, and I told my friend who I was helping at the time, I was actually helping him door knock. For some dumb reason, I decided to take it out of the case. I wanted to start going caseless on my phone. Don't do that. It's not worth it. So I went to the T-Mobile store in Chinatown, Washington, D.C., and I wanted to see what I could get prepaid. I just wanted something to hold me over as I started this new job, and once I got a couple paychecks in, I would upgrade. And I was introduced to this. This is the Moto E, I think, or G, can't remember. I think it's the E series. This is a very cheap phone. It was at the time where Motorola was trying to invent themselves after being sold by Google to Lenovo. So they were just rebranding themselves as Moto. They abandoned that idea pretty quickly. So this was the Moto phone. It's very loud. It's gold. It was hideous, but it was free. At the time, T-Mobile for prepaid offers was giving away a free phone if you signed up for 3 months of prepaid service. And I said, that's perfect. I just need to go to this campaign for 3 months. And it was like the campaign was about to last like 5 months, actually. So this would cover 3 months of that, and I get a free phone to do my job. This thing was actually really, really awesome. The camera wasn't bad. It was only it's $100 unlocked, so pretty much cost nothing. They were giving this thing away. It ran basically stock Android, and it did everything you wanted to do as competently as you want. You couldn't run a ton of apps at once, but you could run like 10 apps and it would work fine. This thing was a workhorse. It got me through that campaign. It was good. One of my friends, though, felt sorry for me for using this budget phone and decided to send me his old Pixel XL. And I started using that for a while, but, you know, I didn't really like the Pixel. I like stock Android, but it wasn't like worth it in my opinion. The Pixel has an amazing camera, but the feel of the phone is weird. It feels way too much like an iPhone without one. Having this huge bezel at the bottom with no button or anything was weird. I didn't like the experience. I also wasn't really interested in returning to a Pixel series. At the time, there was no budget Pixel phone, and I decided to never go back to a flagship. After using this thing and discovering that there was a plethora of low-end and mid-range phones that could do all the jobs that a flagship does with just a couple of fancy features missing, I saw no reason to drop $600 to $1,000 on a phone. So I started looking up reviews. I was skeptical about Samsung because of the J series, but I found this awesome YouTuber named Flossie Carter. You can look up his insanely exhaustive Samsung Galaxy A50 series review, and you can see why I was interested into this phone. I picked it up, and it's a great phone. I'm still going to use it. I'm going to use this thing till it breaks or it stops getting security updates, and it would probably be advised that I get a new phone. This thing is awesome. It's a workhorse phone. It'll do everything you need it to do, and it's cheap. The Samsung A series nowadays has a lot of competitors, but back last year they did not. Samsung basically reinvented the mid-tier market, and people had to catch up. It has shown its age in some ways, though. Some of the software updates have slowed down the phone a little bit, but not much more than any that you would expect of using any phone. You know what I mean? The camera has aged quite a bit. It was okay last year, but nowadays it's really showing its age, as some of you in my YouTube comments have pointed out when I was doing my Pokemon card openings. Someone said, are you filming this on a potato or whatever? I don't care about how my video quality looks that much. I'm not making any money off this, so this is just the best I could do with the budget devices that I have. But it gets the job done. All my pictures, I feel, are serviceable. They look decent. You can tell what they are, but they're not great. You know, any one of my friends who has an iPhone, I would say, hey, can you take the picture and just send it to me? Because it's just going to be a better quality picture. This phone is not, it does not shine in the camera area at all. But it gets the job done. It's gotten it's gotten way more software and security updates that I've ever seen or heard of on previous Samsung devices. So it seems like Samsung is taking the support seriously. It's, you know, it's I really like what Samsung has done to their version of Android. The single hand use stuff, it works really well with the phone. The only built-in app I felt the need to replace because I ran into some weird issues with it was the text messaging app. Sometimes it would not work really well. I didn't like how it handled some of the SMS communications, so I downloaded Google's version of the texting app, and that works great. And it restored all the previous conversations from my Pixel phone, so that was pretty cool too. I have to lose those conversations or keep my Pixel phone on that, all that memory on there, so I could go back and look at those. So I would say that this phone has held up really well, except for aesthetics. I think the Glastic model, Samsung at the time was doing this thing where it has all this rainbow. Like, this is supposed to be a black phone, but it's not black. It's dark blue with this weird rainbow sheen on it. And all of the phones at the time that Samsung was making from the Galaxy line embraced this weird rainbow model. And now it seems really dated. Obviously, Samsung ditched that in this year's phones. And it seems like they're never going to go back to it. So this is going to be a weird time in history where this rainbow feature will exist. Also, it has the teardrop. I'm going to try to go. I use dark mode, which apparently some people think is the worst thing on the planet. I don't know why. I love dark mode, so sue me. But another thing that ages this phone is that it has the teardrop style of bezel, as well as a abnormally large chin at the bottom, which makes it, one of the phones that was in the middle of transitioning to almost bezel-less phones. And this didn't quite make the bezel-less. There's no punch out like on all the new Samsung phones, including the A51, which replaced this one. So the teardrop bezel, which only lasted like a year or so, is present here. But like I said, this thing gets the job done. I really enjoy it. For $250, easily the best smartphone purchase I've ever made for the price. I think Samsung has a really big future in the mid-tier market as long as they keep coming out with phones that are of this caliber. I think the camera is good enough in these phones where the average consumer won't mind it. And if you're sick of buying $600 to $1,000 phones and you just want something that works, that has a decent camera, that'll let you do all your social media as accurately as possible and not feel weird or hiccups, and get a lot of great support from a company that is actually trying to support the phone, then I think that this is it. This is one of the good ones. Motorola does make a comparable series of phones. I think they're called the Moto G, which are also really good. But I am a little skeptical since Lenovo bought Motorola about Motorola's future, as well as ties to the Chinese government in case the U.S. decides to put stricter blockades on Chinese products, which means that support for the phones may have issues. Also, I just, I don't know. I don't really love Motorola's weird, design choices on their hardware. And I think that the Samsung stuff, for as dated as this looks now, is kind of sleek. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this. I hope this has provided you with enough information on how well the Galaxy A50 has aged, and I had a good time making it. Let me know, have you used this phone? Is this a phone that you used in the past? Or have you switched to Android for similar reasons that I have? And do you have a better suggestion for a mid-tier phone that I should look at next when this breaks and I need to move on? Anyway, thanks everybody. Samuel out.